The Deception. Daniel Harrison stood tall as Earth's vessel docked at Celestial Station. Through the viewport, stars glittered against the black canvas of space. The massive ring-shaped station served as the headquarters for the Galactic Council, where representatives from 200 alien civilizations gathered to make decisions affecting the entire galaxy. "Ready, Captain?" asked Olivia Wright, adjusting her Navy uniform. The lieutenant's blonde hair was pulled back in a regulation bun, her expression serious. "As ready as I'll ever be," Daniel replied, straightening his own uniform. 6 years of diplomatic relations with the Council, and this is our first invitation to a full assembly. Progress, right? Olivia nodded, but her eyes remained cautious. Something feels off about this sudden invitation. The airlock hissed open. 3 tall, blue-skinned Akrelians waited on the other side. Their ambassador Israel stepped forward with a practiced smile that didn't reach his 4 eyes. "Captain Harrison, welcome to Celestial Station. The Council eagerly awaits Earth's presentation on your technological advances." Daniel shook the ambassador's 3-fingered hand. "We're honored to share our achievements and learn from the Council's wisdom." As they walked through the gleaming corridors, Daniel marveled at the diversity of species. Some floated in special anti-gravity fields, others shuffled on multiple legs, while humanoid species nodded politely as the Earth delegation passed. "The Council chamber is just ahead," Ambassador Israel said. "Your delegation will be seated in the observation area until called upon." Olivia leaned close to Daniel. "Notice how they're separating us from the main floor. That's not standard protocol." Daniel frowned but kept his voice low. "Stay alert. Remember your orders if anything seems suspicious." Inside the massive dome of the Council chamber, thousands of representatives sat in rising tiers around a central speaking platform. The Earth delegation was escorted to a small section cordoned off from the main assembly. "This is irregular," Daniel whispered to Olivia. "We should be seated with the other presenting species." While Ambassador Israel was distracted, Olivia discreetly activated her neural link, a small device behind her ear that connected to Earth's quantum communications network. She began downloading the Council's secure communications, her eyes darting occasionally to ensure no one noticed. High Counselor Vex of the Draconian Empire called the assembly to order. "Esteemed members, we face an unprecedented threat to galactic stability. The humans have progressed too rapidly, developing technologies that could destabilize established power structures." Daniel stood up. "That's absurd. We've shared all our advancements as required by treaty." Guards immediately surrounded the Earth delegation. Ambassador Israel's friendly demeanor vanished. "Please remain seated, Captain." Olivia's neural link vibrated against her skin. She had accessed the restricted files. The truth hit her like a physical blow. The Council had been planning this for years. Earth wasn't invited to present. They were summoned to be sentenced. "The vote has already been tallied," High Counselor Vex announced. "By majority decision, Earth will be quarantined, all interstellar travel rights revoked, and a security perimeter established around their solar system." Daniel lunged forward, but was restrained by guards. "This violates every principle of your charter. We demand due process. For the safety of the galaxy," Vex continued, ignoring Daniel's protests. "Human expansion must be contained before they become a threat to established civilizations." Olivia caught Daniel's eye and gave an almost imperceptible nod. She had the evidence and a secure transmission channel. As guards began escorting them back to their ship, she activated a hidden communication device in her sleeve. "Admiral Carter," she whispered, "Operation Fallen Trust is now active. The Council has betrayed us. Sending proof now." Back on their vessel, under the pretense of departure preparations, Daniel gathered his crew. "The Council has shown its true colors today. They fear our potential, our innovation." "Orders, Captain?" asked his pilot. Daniel's face hardened as he looked at the starfield beyond the viewport. "We comply. For now. Return to Earth. They think they've caged us, but they've just awakened the sleeping giant." As their ship pulled away from Celestial Station, Olivia approached with her findings. They'd been planning this for 2 years. They see us as a threat to their power structure. Daniel nodded grimly. Then they shouldn't have given us a reason to prove them right. Admiral John Carter paced the underground war room, 50 meters beneath the Pacific Ocean. Holographic displays showed the positions of alien vessels forming a blockade around Earth's solar system. 7 days had passed since Captain Harrison's team returned with news of the Council's betrayal. Status report, Carter demanded, his weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of tactical screens. Dr. Elizabeth Foster, her dark hair streaked with gray, looked up from her workstation. My team has developed a way to mask our quantum signatures. Council sensors can't distinguish our communications from background radiation now. Carter nodded. Good. They think they've cut us off, but we'll use that assumption against them. The heavy blast doors slid open as Daniel Harrison entered, followed by Lieutenant Wright. Both looked exhausted but determined. Glad you could join us, Carter said. The President has authorized Project Phoenix. Daniel's eyebrows rose. That fast? I thought there would be more debate. The evidence Lieutenant Wright recovered was damning, Carter explained. The Council didn't just betray us. They've been manipulating Earth for decades, slowing our technological progress while stealing our innovations. Grace Williams, the Strategic Operations Director, activated a larger display showing Earth's hidden resources. We've been preparing contingencies since first contact. The public thinks we dismantled our advanced weapons programs as a show of good faith. In reality, we moved them underground. Literally underground, Samuel Martinez added. He was head of weapons development, a stocky man with calloused hands. We have manufacturing facilities beneath every continent. The Council's surveillance satellites see empty fields and abandoned buildings. Olivia stepped forward. What about Council sympathizers among us? Not everyone will oppose them. That's where we need your skills, Carter said. Project Phoenix has 3 phases: deception, preparation, and liberation. We need to appear compliant while building our strength. Elizabeth tapped her tablet, bringing up schematics for a new device. This is the Phantom Shield. It creates a false electronic footprint, making Council observers see exactly what we want them to see. Meanwhile, Grace continued, we'll recruit from the best scientific and military minds across the globe. Every nation has agreed to participate, a first in human history. Daniel crossed his arms. How long before the Council realizes we're not just sitting here accepting their quarantine? That's where the real work begins, Carter replied. Lieutenant Wright, you'll head our counterintelligence division. Daniel, you'll train our first response fleet. The Council thinks our ships are primitive compared to theirs. They don't know about the advancements we've kept hidden. Samuel displayed the image of a sleek black vessel, the Nighthawk class, stealth capabilities, advanced weapons systems, and engines that don't rely on the jump gates the Council controls. Our official position remains cooperative compliance, Carter emphasized. Earth's governments will protest through official channels, appear to squabble among themselves, and gradually accept the Council's decision. Meanwhile, Project Phoenix grows in the shadows. Elizabeth stood, her voice firm. The Council believes humans are predictable, emotional, and divided. We'll show them how wrong they are, but only when we're ready. How long? Olivia asked. 6 months to full operational capacity, Grace answered. We've designated Mars as our forward base. The Council monitors Earth closely, but pays less attention to what they consider our primitive colony. Carter looked at each person in the room. Make no mistake, this is humanity's greatest challenge. The Council has stood unchallenged for 10,000 years. They've never faced a species that refused to accept subjugation. Daniel's expression hardened. They should have researched our history better. Humans have never responded well to cages. As the meeting concluded, Olivia lingered by the tactical display. Do you think we can really win against their technology? Carter's eyes reflected the determination that had earned him his command. The Council made a critical error. They didn't try to destroy us. They tried to contain us. And nothing in human history has ever remained contained for long. 3 months into the blockade, Kelly Robinson stood in the observation deck of the hidden shipyard beneath Olympus Mons on Mars. Through the reinforced glass, she watched as technicians applied the final layer of stealth coating to the U.S. Defiant, Earth's first true warship. "Beautiful, isn't she?" Kelly said, tucking a strand of red hair behind her ear. Commander William Hayes nodded beside her. "Hard to believe we built her in just 90 days. "The Council did us a favor with their blockade," Kelly replied. "Nothing motivates human innovation like someone telling us we can't do something." William laughed quietly. "Is your stealth system ready?" Kelly tapped her tablet, bringing up the final diagnostic reports. "The Phantom Shield doesn't just hide us from sensors. It projects false readings. The Council will see whatever we want them to see." Alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Red emergency lights flashed as both officers rushed to the command center. Admiral Carter's hologram appeared on the main screen, his expression grim. "The Council has tightened the blockade," Carter announced. "They've doubled their patrols and deployed new sensor arrays throughout the system. Our intelligence suggests they suspect we're up to something." William stepped forward. "Sir, the Defiant is ready. We can launch within 6 hours." Carter considered this. "Earlier than planned, but we may not get a better chance. Your mission remains the same. Breach the blockade, make contact with potential allies, and return undetected. If the Council realizes we can bypass their quarantine, they'll strike before we're ready." Kelly raised her hand. "The stealth system is untested against their newest sensors." "Then I guess this will be the test," William replied. 5 hours later, the Defiant's crew of 30 stood at attention as William addressed them on the bridge. "This mission is voluntary. The risks are extreme. If we're captured, Earth will disavow all knowledge of our operation." Not a single crew member stepped back. Navigation Officer Peter Mills spoke for everyone. "We all volunteered knowing the risks, Commander. Let's show the Council what humans can do." The Defiant launched under cover of a routine supply shuttle heading to Phobos Station. As the supply shuttle docked, drawing the attention of Council observers, the Defiant activated its Phantom Shield and accelerated toward the edge of the solar system. "Shield functioning at optimal levels," Kelly reported from her engineering station. "Council sensors are registering us as background radiation." William settled into the command chair. "Take us to the Jupiter corridor. That's where their patrol is thinnest." The ship slipped silently past massive Council warships, their crews oblivious to the human vessel passing mere kilometers from their hulls. As they approached the blockade line, tension filled the bridge. "Increasing power to the Phantom Shield," Kelly said, her fingers dancing across controls. "We're about to pass through their sensor net." William leaned forward. "Steady course. No sudden maneuvers." For 30 agonizing seconds, the Defiant passed through the most concentrated section of the Council blockade. The ship's systems automatically recorded detailed scans of Council technology, information that would be priceless to Earth's defense planners. "We're clear," Peter finally announced. "We've breached the blockade." A cheer rose from the crew, quickly silenced by William's raised hand. "We're only halfway done. Now we find those allies." The Defiant accelerated to full speed, heading toward the Novanian system. Intelligence gathered by Lieutenant Wright had identified the Novanians as former allies of the Council who had suffered similar betrayal centuries earlier. "Set course for Novanian space," William ordered, "and maintain stealth protocols. The real mission begins now." As Earth grew distant behind them, Kelly joined William at the viewport. "Do you think anyone else has successfully broken through a Council blockade before?" William's expression was determined. "If they have, they kept it secret. If we succeed, we'll do the same, until the day we don't need to hide anymore." The Defiant vanished into the darkness between stars, carrying humanity's hopes for freedom with it. The Defiant drifted silently in orbit around Novanus Prime, its phantom shield making it invisible to conventional sensors. Commander Hayes studied the alien world through the view screen, a gas giant with 17 moons, the third of which hosted the Novanian civilization. "Any response to our transmission?" William asked. Communications Officer Ryan Bell shook his head. "Nothing yet, sir. We're broadcasting on the frequency Lieutenant Wright's intelligence indicated, but..." The ship's systems suddenly flickered as a powerful scanning beam washed over the hull. "We've been detected," Kelly called out. "Someone's penetrated the phantom shield." Before anyone could react, 3 sleek vessels appeared around the Defiant, their weapons trained on the human ship. "Open a channel," William ordered calmly. The view screen changed to show a tall, silver-skinned being with 4 arms and luminous eyes. "Human vessel," the alien said in perfect English. "Your stealth technology is impressive, but outdated by our standards. State your purpose." William stepped forward. "I am Commander William Hayes of Earth. We seek an audience with the Novanian leadership regarding the Galactic Council's aggression against our world." The alien's eyes narrowed. "Follow our escort to these coordinates. Any deviation will be considered hostile." 2 hours later, William and Ambassador Patricia Bennett stood in a vast underground chamber. Patricia was a seasoned diplomat in her 50s, with dark skin and keen eyes that missed nothing. "The Council betrayed you too," Patricia said to the Novanian leader, High Marshal Zex. "Our intelligence shows they quarantined your civilization 300 years ago, claiming you were too aggressive." Zex's silver face showed no emotion, but his voice carried ancient anger. "The Council fears any species that might challenge their dominance. They isolated us, stole our technology, and rewrote galactic history to erase our contributions." Patricia nodded. "They're doing the same to Earth. We propose an alliance." "Bold words from a quarantined species," another Novanian remarked. William smiled. "Yet here we stand, having broken through their blockade." Zex studied the humans carefully. "You are not the first to approach us. There are others who suffer under Council tyranny." The chamber's doors opened as representatives from 5 other species entered. William recognized none of them from Council records. "Meet the Liberty Coalition," Zex announced. "We have existed in secret for centuries, waiting for the right moment to challenge the Council's rule." A reptilian being stepped forward. "I am Thresh of the Saurians. The Council stripped our world of resources, then abandoned us to die. I represent the Volari Collective," added a creature composed of swirling gases contained in a mechanical suit. "The Council declared our form of existence disturbing and restricted us to our home system." Patricia exchanged glances with William. This was beyond what they had hoped for. Not just allies, but an organized resistance. "What have you been waiting for?" William asked. "If you've been organizing for centuries, why haven't you moved against the Council?" Zex gestured to a holographic display showing Council military strength. "We lack the element of surprise. The Council maintains surveillance throughout known space. Any large-scale movement would be detected and crushed immediately." "That's where humans can help," Patricia said. "Our phantom shield technology could be adapted to your ships." Major Kevin Dawson, the Defiant's tactical officer, stepped forward. "And we bring new combat tactics. The Council's military relies on overwhelming force and ancient protocols. They haven't fought a real war in thousands of years." Zex conferred with the other coalition members before turning back to the humans. "We will need proof of your commitment and capabilities." Patricia smiled diplomatically. "We anticipated that. Commander, please share our gift with our new friends." William activated a data crystal, projecting detailed schematics, complete plans for Earth's defense systems, weapons platforms, and stealth technology, plus something special, the location of 7 unpatrolled weaknesses in the Council's border defenses. The Coalition representatives studied the information with growing interest. "How did you obtain this?" Thresh asked suspiciously. "The Council underestimates humans," Patricia replied. "While they watched our ships and satellites, Our agents mapped their entire defense network. Zex made a gesture that might have been respect. Perhaps the Council was right to fear your species after all, but for the wrong reasons. We don't seek conquest, Patricia assured them. Only freedom and justice. Then let us begin, Zex declared. The Liberty Coalition welcomes Earth as its newest member. Dr. Alan Hughes stood on the observation deck of the Mars Defense Platform, watching through specialized filters as the Council Armada emerged from hyperspace. Dozens of massive warships appeared near the red planet's orbit, their weapons charging. They found us, he said quietly into his communicator. Admiral Carter, the Council's attack force has arrived. Right on schedule, Carter's voice replied. Prepare Phoenix Protocol. The past 4 months had transformed Mars. What the Council believed to be a small scientific outpost had become a fortress, with defense systems hidden beneath the dusty surface. Human engineers, working alongside Novanian and Saurian advisors, had created weapons specifically designed to counter Council technology. The lead Council vessel broadcast on all frequencies. Attention human forces. Your unauthorized military buildup violates quarantine terms. Surrender immediately or face orbital bombardment. Inside the Mars Command Center, Captain Laura Taylor took command of the defense fleet. At 34, she was the youngest fleet captain in Earth's history, with a reputation for unconventional tactics. All ships maintain stealth positions, Laura ordered. Let them think they're facing a small outpost. On the Council flagship, Commander Vrex of the Akrelian Guard watched with contempt as his sensors showed only a handful of primitive human structures on the Martian surface. Pathetic, he told his officers. Their resistance will be symbolic at best. Begin the attack. The Council ships launched their first salvo, energy weapons designed to penetrate planetary defenses. The beams struck Mars's surface, vaporizing the visible structures. Direct hits, Vrex's tactical officer reported. Human defenses neutralized. Vrex looked suspicious. Too easy. Scan for underground facilities. Before his crew could comply, the surface of Mars seemed to ripple as hundreds of hidden launch bays opened. Swarms of small fighter craft rose from the dust, while larger vessels shimmered into visibility as they deactivated their phantom shields. Impossible, Vrex exclaimed. Where did they get this technology? In the Mars Defense Laboratory, Dr. Hughes activated his prototype weapon, quantum disruptor at full charge, targeting their flagship. The device hummed as it gathered power, then released an invisible pulse that spread across space toward the Council Armada. As it reached the first ship, the vessel's shields flickered and failed. What's happening? Vrex demanded as warning systems blared across his bridge. Our shields are collapsing, his engineer replied in panic. The humans are using modified Novanian technology. Laura's voice came over the tactical channel to all Earth vessels. Execute battle plan Thermopylae. Target ships with failed shields first. The human fleet moved with precision that shocked the Council commanders. Smaller Earth vessels darted between massive Council warships, their weapons precisely targeting propulsion and weapons systems, rather than attempting to destroy the larger vessels outright. They're disabling us, not destroying us, Vrex realized. They want our ships intact. In the command center, Laura directed the battle with calm efficiency. Group 3. Protect Dr. Hughes's facility. All Phantom-equipped ships. Commence Phase 2. A second wave of Earth vessels appeared behind the Council fleet, having used their stealth systems to circle around during the initial confusion. The Council Armada now found itself caught between two human forces. They've trapped us, Vrex's second-in-command stated, unable to hide his shock. Humans shouldn't be capable of this level of coordination. As the battle reached its peak, Dr. Hughes activated a second device, a massive electromagnetic pulse modified to affect only Council communication systems. Suddenly, the Council ships could no longer coordinate their actions. All Council communication is down, Hughes reported. Their ships are isolated from each other. Laura seized the advantage. All ships, Execute final assault pattern. Disable their engines and weapons. Remember, we want prisoners and intact technology. The battle lasted less than an hour. When it ended, 17 Council warships had been captured intact, 9 had retreated, and only 3 had been destroyed when their commanders attempted suicide runs. In the aftermath, Laura walked through the command center, congratulating her officers. The Council thought this would be a simple punishment operation. They didn't send their full force. Admiral Carter's hologram appeared on the main display. They will next time. This was just the beginning, Captain Taylor. Laura nodded, her expression serious. But now they know we can fight back. And more importantly, so does the rest of the galaxy. The massive Liberty Coalition fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Akrelian system. 50 ships from 6 different species, united under a single command. At the center of the formation flew the U.S. Defiant, now upgraded with technology from all member species. Colonel Richard Nelson stood on the bridge, watching as the tactical display showed Council defense platforms activating around the system. "They've detected us," his sensor officer announced. Richard nodded calmly. "As expected. Lieutenant Miller, are you ready?" Lieutenant Stephanie Miller looked up from her specialized console. At 28, she was Earth's foremost expert in alien computer systems. "Ready, sir. The access codes from our captured ships should get me into their defense grid." Richard turned to address the fleet. "All vessels, this is Colonel Nelson. Remember your objectives. This isn't about revenge. It's about freedom. Disable rather than destroy when possible. We need to show the galaxy we're better than the Council." The fleet accelerated toward the inner system where Akrela, the Council's primary military base, orbited its sun. Immediately, defensive fire lanced out from orbital platforms. "Evasive maneuvers," Richard ordered. "Valerian ships, move to Phase 1 positions." The gaseous Valerians, whose ships could withstand incredible amounts of energy, moved to the front of the formation, absorbing the initial Council barrage. Meanwhile, Stephanie's fingers flew across her console as she transmitted carefully crafted code sequences to the defense platforms. "I'm in their network," she reported. "Beginning shutdown sequence." One by one, the defense platforms went dark. Council commanders frantically tried to reactivate them, but Stephanie had locked them out of their own systems. "All ships advance," Richard commanded. "Novanian Squadron, secure the orbital shipyards. Saurian forces, target their communication hubs." The Earth vessels focused on the main military headquarters on Akrela's largest moon. As they approached, Richard received a message from Admiral Carter back on Earth. "Colonel, we've received word that the Council is meeting in emergency session. They're voting to authorize the use of prohibited weapons against Earth. You must capture their command center before they can transmit that authorization." Richard's expression hardened. "Understood, Admiral. We'll get it done." He turned to his crew. "Change of plans. We need to take their command center immediately." The Defiant accelerated ahead of the main fleet, drawing heavy fire from remaining Council defenses. The ship shuddered as energy beams struck its shields. "Shields at 60%, reported the tactical officer. "Hold course," Richard ordered. "Lieutenant Miller, focus on their weapons control systems." Stephanie nodded, redirecting her efforts. Across the Akrelian system, Council weapon emplacements suddenly turned and fired on each other, creating chaos in the defense network. As the Defiant approached the command center, Richard assembled his strike team. "We'll have one chance at this. The Council will have their best guards protecting the command staff." The ship docked forcefully with the station, cutting through the outer hull. Richard led the first team through the breach, encountering immediate resistance from Council security forces. Non-lethal tactics when possible, he reminded his soldiers as they advanced through the station. While Richard's team pushed toward the command center, Liberty Coalition forces systematically captured key Council installations throughout the system. The Novanian Squadron secured the shipyards intact, preventing the destruction of valuable vessels. The Saurians disabled the communication hubs, isolating the Akrelian system from the rest of Council space. After 20 minutes of intense fighting, Richard's team reached the command center doors. Using breaching charges, they blew the reinforced entrance and stormed inside. High Commander Zorax of the Council military stood with his officers, weapons drawn. "Surrender," Richard demanded. "Your defenses have fallen. Your communications are cut off. There's no reason for further bloodshed." Zorax looked at the human with contempt. "You think capturing one system will change anything? The Council controls thousands of worlds." "Not anymore," Richard replied, activating a holographic display showing simultaneous Liberty Coalition attacks on 12 other major Council installations across the galaxy. "This isn't just one attack. This is a coordinated uprising." Zorax's expression changed as he realized the scope of what was happening. "How is this possible? The quarantine should have contained you." "Your mistake was thinking you could cage humanity," Richard said. "Instead, you forced us to become stronger. And unlike you, we made real allies, not subjects." The Grand Council chamber fell silent as General Joseph Collins walked across its polished floor. 6 weeks had passed since the coordinated assault on Council military installations. Behind Joseph followed representatives from every species in the Liberty Coalition, including Captain Daniel Harrison, whose journey had started this revolution. "This chamber has stood for 10,000 years, Joseph began, his voice carrying to all corners of the vast space. "For too long, it has been a place of secrets and lies." The remaining council leaders sat uncomfortably in their elevated seats. Most had been arrested or had fled, but those who claimed ignorance of the military's actions remained. "Humanity did not come here seeking war," Joseph continued. "We came seeking friendship and knowledge. Instead, we found a system designed to keep emerging species weak and controlled." Daniel stepped forward, addressing the council directly. "The evidence recovered from your databases tells the true story. Not just your betrayal of Earth, but hundreds of other species throughout the centuries." Screens around the chamber displayed documents and recordings showing council plans to restrict technological development, engineer conflicts between potential rival species, and maintain power through deception rather than cooperation. "Today, we end this cycle," Joseph announced. "The old council is dissolved, effective immediately." Council leader Trell rose in protest. "You have no authority." "We have the authority granted by every species you've ever oppressed," interrupted Ambassador Patricia Bennett, stepping forward to stand beside Joseph. "And we have the practical authority of controlling every major council installation, fleet, and communications network." Lieutenant Olivia Wright, now promoted to commander, activated a holographic display showing Liberty Coalition forces across council space. "Your choice is simple. Help us build something better, or face trial for crimes against sentient beings." Faced with overwhelming evidence and military defeat, the council leaders had no choice but to surrender their authority. Joseph turned to address not just the chamber, but the billions watching the transmission across the galaxy. "Today marks the beginning of the Galactic Alliance. Unlike the Council, this will be a true partnership of equals. No species will have authority over another. No technology will be restricted for political purposes. No world will be quarantined without just cause and due process." As he spoke, representatives from formerly suppressed species entered the chamber, races that had been deemed too aggressive or culturally incompatible by the Council and isolated from galactic society. "The transition will not be easy," Joseph acknowledged. "Centuries of Council rule have created deep inequalities. Some worlds have advanced technology, while others were deliberately kept primitive. Addressing these imbalances will be our first priority." Daniel stepped forward again. 5 years ago, humanity was alone in the universe. Then we discovered we were part of a larger community, one that, unfortunately, was built on fear and control rather than cooperation. Today, we have the chance to build something better. The former council chambers transformed over the following days. The elevated seats were removed, replaced by a circular arrangement where all representatives sat at the same level. The ornate symbols of Council authority were replaced with a simple emblem representing unity and diversity. 5 years later, Daniel Harrison stood at the window of his office in the Alliance Central Complex, watching ships from 100 worlds moving through the busy space lanes. Earth vessels flew alongside those of former enemies, carrying trade goods and cultural exchanges rather than weapons. Ambassador Harrison, his assistant, appeared at the door. "The Alliance Council is ready for you." Daniel smiled. "Thank you. I'll be right there." He took a moment to straighten his formal Earth uniform before heading to the Council chambers. Inside, representatives from over 300 worlds waited for the session to begin. As Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Alliance, Daniel took his seat, neither more nor less prominent than any other world's representative. Beside him sat Ambassador Drell of the Akrelians, once Earth's jailer, now a key ally in rebuilding galactic society. "Before we begin today's session," Daniel said, rising to address the assembly, "I'd like to welcome our newest member, the Tavelian Collective, whose quarantine was lifted last month after 400 years of isolation." Applause filled the chamber as the Tavelian representative, a crystalline being that communicated through light patterns, moved to take their place in the assembly. 10 years after the Alliance formation, the small ship raced through the uncharted region of the Cygnus Arm, pushing its engines to their limits. Inside, Dr. Susan Miller checked her scanners again, confirming they were still being pursued. "Any change?" asked her pilot, Captain Frank Wilson. "3 Council Loyalist warships, still gaining," Susan replied. "They really don't want us getting back with this data." In the decade since the Galactic Alliance replaced the corrupt Council, most of the galaxy had embraced the new era of cooperation. But some former Council members had escaped justice, fleeing to distant sectors where they maintained control over isolated worlds and military outposts. Frank adjusted their course, diving the ship toward a dense asteroid field. "They're not getting it. Not after what we discovered." 2 weeks earlier, the Alliance scientific vessel Horizon had detected unusual energy readings from an uncharted system. Susan, leading the research team, had discovered something shocking. A massive installation hidden behind a cloaking field, where Council loyalists were developing weapons based on forbidden technology. "Alliance Command, this is Exploration Team 7. Frank transmitted. "We've located a Council remnant base in Sector 114, requesting immediate assistance." Static answered him. The Loyalists were jamming their communications. "We need to reach the wormhole relay at Proxima Station," Susan said. "It's our only chance to get this warning back to Earth." Frank nodded grimly, pushing the ship deeper into the asteroid field. The pursuing vessels fired, their energy weapons vaporizing nearby asteroids. "Hold on," Frank called as he executed a dangerous maneuver, scraping their hull against a massive asteroid to change direction without using engines that would be detected. Susan braced herself, clutching the data core containing proof of the Loyalists' plans, evidence that showed they intended to use planet-killing weapons against key Alliance worlds, including Earth. "They're splitting up," Susan reported, watching the scanner. "Trying to cut us off." Frank smiled slightly. "That's what I was hoping for." He activated a series of small devices they had released earlier, decoys programmed to mimic their ship's signature. The pursuing vessels veered off, momentarily confused by the multiple targets. "That won't fool them for long," Susan warned. "It doesn't need to. Look ahead." Through the viewport, Susan saw Proxima Station appear as they cleared the asteroid field. The massive structure, built jointly by humans and Novanians, served as a communications hub for this sector of space. "We're still being jammed," she reminded him. "For standard communications, yes, but the quantum entanglement relay can't be blocked." As they approached the station, warning lights flashed across their console. The Loyalist ships had realized their mistake and were converging again, weapons charging. "We're not going to make it," Susan said quietly. Frank looked at her. "The ship doesn't need to make it, just the data." He pressed a sequence of commands, and a small capsule ejected from their ship, rocketing toward Proxima Station at maximum speed. Emergency data package. Frank transmitted on all frequencies. Priority Alliance Security Protocol. Authentication code Omega-73. The station's defense systems activated, extending a protective shield around the incoming capsule while leaving the damaged ship exposed. "They've got it," Frank said with relief as the capsule disappeared into a receiving bay. "The Alliance will know about the weapon installation within hours." The Loyalist ships surrounded them, weapons locked on their disabled vessel. "Surrender immediately or be destroyed," came the transmission. Susan looked at Frank. "What now?" He smiled, activating their final system. "Now we show them why you don't corner humans." A blinding flash erupted from their ship, not an explosion, but a reverse-engineered version of the Phantom Shield technology. Instead of hiding their ship, it expanded outward, overwhelming the sensors of the pursuing vessels and temporarily blinding their crews. "Maximum thrust," Frank ordered as he redirected all power to the engines. The ship shot forward, slipping between the confused Loyalist vessels and racing toward the station's protective perimeter. Behind them, the Loyalist commander watched in fury as the human ship escaped. "How do they keep doing this? Every time we think we have them trapped." His second-in-command shook his head. "That's why the old council failed, sir. They never understood that humans don't accept no-win scenarios. They just changed the rules."